right? And I know you young whippersnappers that watch Nick at Night might have heard of Babe Ruth as a candy Baby Ruth. He's known for having the most home runs. What people don't talk about enough is that he's also known for having the most strikeouts.
And you just stack all these incentives, plus the discount, plus the government rebates. I was getting a BMW 5 Series for $150 a month.
You just said you failed a lot. And I want to say something that's amazing. You know why? Because I'd rather you fail than I fail. I'd rather learn from your mistakes. Yeah.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is L.A. Williams, Vice President with Dealer Synergy and the co-creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, Blind Master, all that good stuff, man. I don't want to have a long intro like my man over here. My man got the longest intro ever, but he is absolutely spectacular. Y'all know who I'm talking about, my main man, Mr. Sean V. Bradley, CSP. What's going on, Sean?
What it is, my brother, what it is. So now there's lots going on. So we are obviously burning up the summer already.
Yes, indeed.
Selling cars like candy bars. I want to just give just a quick update on some things. You know, first and foremost, this Toyota relationship is absolutely incredible.
Rolling.
You know, we have been working for several years with the Chicago region, the Portland region. We just signed up the San Francisco region. So we have 3 Toyota regions, and we are in the process of talking to the Kansas City region. So we're about to bring on our 4th Toyota region. In addition to Toyota, I can't say the OEM right now, but we're actually working with a major American OEM as well, with some state-of-the-art technology with generative AI. So Dealer Synergies actually bring into the industry some advanced artificial intelligence for video, so video AI.
Yeah.
And special shout out to our guy, Cody Carter. Sell like Cody, man. I got to just tell you, you know, it's funny to me, LA, because whenever we talk about Cody Carter, you know, people are like, that's impossible. Like, just the other month, he sold 204 units on the showroom floor. So wrap your mind around it.
Yep.
The average car dealership has 10 salespeople, 2 sales managers, a GM, GSM to do all of that, right? For less than 100 cars. So literally, Cody and one assistant did more work than over 20 salespeople, 4 sales managers, and 2 GSM GMs.
Crazy.
It's insane. So here's my advice to everybody that's listening to the show. Success leaves clues. What you want to be able to do is you want to find people in whatever industry you're in, whatever passion you have, whatever craft you're trying to, master, and just see who's there already and see what they're doing it, see how they're doing it. Find out why they're doing it that way and just learn from somebody else. There's no need to try to reinvent the wheel. So again, it is a blessing that we're working with all these Toyota dealers, and then the number 1 salesperson in the country happens to be a Toyota salesperson. But let's deconstruct this. Why is Cody Carter the GOAT, the greatest of all time? Why is he selling 204 cars in a month when the average salesperson is selling less than 10 cars? You could say, oh, it's Toyota. Stop. There's a lot of Toyota stuff. People ain't doing shit like that, right? There's a lot of Toyota dealerships, full-blown dealerships that are not selling the amount of units as Cody Carter and his one assistant. So it's not the brand. It's not the region in California. So what is it? It's really simple, LA. He's got a plan. He's not taking ups. He is not a slave to the business. See, most salespeople, most dealerships react to the business. They wait for phone ups, walk-in ups, internet ups, service ups, prior customers, orphan owners. They wait for all this stuff. Yet what Cody's done is he's cracked the Da Vinci Code. Cody Carter has his own model. Yes, he's got repeat business. Second is his Facebook groups. He's in all these Facebook groups. A third thing is that he is like the least genius in the country. Not least, he's the least. L-E-A-S-E, right? But one of his secret weapons is that he utilizes auto brokers.
Right.
auto brokers. I feel like the Wizard of Oz, you know what I mean? Like when I'm like, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Like if you say that enough times, auto broker, here's the reality. Most people don't know what an auto broker is. They don't know what an auto broker is supposed to be. They just don't know. They don't know about it, And what's interesting learning from Cody at his level is that he doesn't shy away from auto brokers. He embraces them, but then he enhances them. He doesn't just use regular auto brokers. So I'm excited to kind of dive into this week's episode because we have some special guests that are subject matter experts on creating opportunities. Whether you call it a marketplace, whether you call it like auto brokers, whether you call it, I call it opportunity. And so when we come back from this break, after we pay some bills, right, I want you to be able to bring some really interesting people to the show that's going to be able to give some clarity, give some clear understanding of what an auto broker is or isn't, or as it should be or shouldn't be. And most importantly, how can dealers utilize this strategy? Because no offense, I love Cody Carter, but he's got all the money. Yeah, he needs to give it out a little bit. There need to be other people who need to eat.
Let's go.
And I think we're going to turn around and the episode we're going to have today is going to be delicious.
Yeah.
All right, I'm already hungry. Let's take us a break, though.
All right, so y'all, we'll be right back. And when we do, man, we are bringing my main man, Mr. Rami Joudeh, aka RJ22. Some of y'all get that when y'all go home. And my main man, Mr. Dayne Thornicroft. And y'all, listen, we got some special stories to share about that. But we'll be right back on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast.
This episode is brought to you by AutoBandit. What if your sales team spent less time chasing leads and more time closing deals? Meet AutoBandit, co-founded by today's guests, Rammy, Joudeh, and Dayne Thornicroft. It's the first fully digital car leasing and financing platform built to connect buyers and dealers effortlessly. Imagine giving your customers a faster, smoother, all-online car shopping experience. From browsing to approval, all the way to pickup, with AutoBandit, you get pre-qualified leads, transparent deals, and a process designed to close sales and move more cars off of your lot. Want to see how AutoBandit can help you drive more deals? Visit autobandit.com/4-dealers. That's autobandit.com/4-dealers, or visit the link in the show notes below.
Thank you for calling Doing It Wrong Motors. How can I help you?
I was looking at the tan 2023 GMC Terrain. You guys still have that?
Oh, sorry. That vehicle's been sold.
Could this be happening at your dealership? Get the Dealer Synergy team to handle calls the right way. We'll gather all the information, drop it in the CRM, set a solid appointment with notes, so all you have to do is sell. Do yourself a favor and go to dealersynergy.com for a free demo.
And no more of this burning through phone-ups nonsense.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back on the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. And as promised, man, I got my main man, Mr. Dayne Thornicroft, in the building. What's going on, Dayne?
Hey,
ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to meet you, man.
Yeah, hey, same here. Listen, it was crazy because when we were pre-recording, I was like, man, I feel like I already know you from somewhere. Man, I know your name from somewhere. And then we got into a whole conversation about giraffes and all kind of stuff. I said, oh, wow, okay, this is a whole nother. We went in a whole different direction, man. But I'm super excited to have you on. And also my main man, Mr.
Wait a minute.
RG.
That's some rich people shit. Like poor people talk about giraffes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to find out more about this giraffe conversation.
By the way, his nickname for me, I call him in my phone, it's Dayne Blue Blood Thornicroft, just so you know. That's literally what it is.
So some of y'all like, who is that voice? That's RJ22. Y'all don't know RJ22? What's going on? Robbie, you in the building? What's up?
Yeah, RJ22 in his mind was one of the greatest F1 drivers ever. So, but that's somebody else.
Let's go.
Well, speaking of the greatest of all times, I'm sure you guys just heard the intro to the show. I was talking about our friend and our partner, Mr. Cody Carter. From my understanding, you just recently were at Tustin Toyota and hanging out with Mr. Cody Carter, and you got to spend some time with him. So what was that like? Like, you know, the guy is a man, the myth, the legend in our industry, and you got to hang out with him for a day. What was that like?
Well, first I was giddy. I was kind of starstruck a little bit, right? I was like, oh my God, it's Cody. Oh my God. You know, it was good. That was fun. You know, it's amazing because you look at where Tustin is, and it's kind of smack dab in an auto center, huge auto center, right? Multiple acres, and Toyota is this big behemoth sitting there, multiple levels. And Cody, I thought it came out, and it was amazing to meet him, and he had a lot of insightful points, and it was an interesting conversation. And I would say, Cody, to me, what I got out of it ultimately was he lives where the shoppers hang out, and that equates to hundreds of deals at this point a month, right? And that's something to take away.
No, you just said something that was very powerful. You just said he lives where the shoppers hang out, and that is so intuitive, Rami, because a lot of times dealers mess this up and salespeople mess this up. They're where the people aren't. There's 10 salespeople, and that was the model when people came into the dealership. Yet there are hundreds or thousands of prospects or leads or ups that are in the internet, but we don't have nearly as many internet salespeople or business development agents or what have you. It seems that the dealers are putting all their resources where the opportunities used to be. But to your point, Cody is living omnipresently. He's living where everybody's at online. He's right there
100%.
where the people are at. Okay, so can you just share with us, if you could pick just one or two things that impressed you or surprised you about the whole Cody Carter experience being with him that day?
Absolutely. Again, I'll echo the lives where the shoppers hang out. I think that's very, very important. I mean, shoppers use, the internet, the power of the internet, Facebook groups. He's in 15 plus Facebook groups, like you'd mentioned, dedicated to Toyota and SoCal. You get a fresh link every morning. He's pushing out different deals that are available out there. So I think that reaches thousands of shoppers, right? And that was super impressive. He showed me that. The second thing is, which I think is genius, using Lease Genius, as you mentioned before, the self-service pricing, right? We're in a world today where we want that control at our fingertips, right? We want to come in knowing exactly where we're going to be at. Before, it was like you didn't know what lender you were going to get to, what payment you were going to get. I think that's changed, right? Like right now, I should be able to get MSRP, discount, residual money factor, DAS, and payment all up front, and I understand what I'm walking into. I think that was very powerful.
Wait a minute. Here's my thing real quick. Before we get into this, we've got some, like, our listeners have expectations. This is the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This ain't the 100,000-aire podcast. You know what I'm saying? This is the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. So we're about money and results. So what I want to do is this. I got excited about you and Cody and stuff like that. But can you tell everybody who you are and why they should care? Because we don't bring rookies to the show. You're pretty badass at what you do. And I want you to kind of share your background in automotive and then why these dealers need to really pay attention to what you're about to say, because I'm going to tie, audience, wait for it, it's coming. I'm going to tie in these guys' amazing background with part of what makes Cody Carter so freaking successful and so far ahead of the average salesperson. But I need you to feel suspenseful. I need you to feel excited. So Rami, get them excited. Why should they get excited about you? Well, what have you done that warrants you being on my show?
Absolutely. One, I'm very honored to be on your show, and definitely he did it. Outside of looking into me as deeply as you have and give me that proctology exam, it means I was able to pass all that and be on this call. I'm a serial technology entrepreneur. I've had a couple of successful startups, all in this space on SEO, search engine optimization, online marketing, all these in some of the hardest space. And I'm an avid car guy. And literally I've spent a good chunk of my life challenging myself to get the best lease deal out there. And I really sat down with Dayne. We made a bet a couple of years ago to go out and see who can get the best lease deal. He beat me, hands down. I'll let him give some more information around that. But that was, was the catalyst to create a company called AutoBandit, which is an online marketplace that's patented, that's been around now for over 5 years. And that's why we're here to talk about that. And we've learned a lot. You know, we have thousands of subscribers, we have thousands of cars in inventory, hundreds of dealers on our online marketplace, and we have failed numerous times and finally been able to crack the code and kind of get that steady stream of users onto our site and understanding what they're looking for.
Wait a minute. I want to just, I'm in a rare mood because I don't know if it's the altitude where I'm at in Altoona, Pennsylvania right now. I don't know how Altoona is, but it's where I'm at. I'm going to undisclose location, but you just said you failed a lot. And I want to say something like, damn it, that's amazing. You know why? Because I'd rather you fail than I fail. I'd rather learn from your mistakes.
Yeah,
That's good, Sean.
they were very costly mistakes.
I'd rather you spend your money learning how to do this shit so I don't have to waste my money. So guys, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know something is that Babe Ruth, right? And I know you young whippersnappers that watch Nick at Night might have heard of Babe Ruth as a candy Baby Ruth. Right? He's known for having the most home runs. But what people don't talk about enough is that he's also known for having the most strikeouts. I'm going to repeat that. The one and only, the great Babe Ruth, one of the best Yankees to ever put on that fitted, right? He has one of the highest home run records ever. But what people don't talk about is that he has also the most strikeouts. And so, but you think about that, you have to wind up and swing for the fences. If you don't fucking wind up and swing your hardest at the fences, you're never going to hit a grand slam home run. So when we have these type of shows, I want to learn from everybody. And if anybody you come in contact who tells you that they've only been brilliant all the time, they've only had successes and it's only been gravy, they're lying to you or they're delusional. Everybody from Elon Musk to Bill Gates to, anybody that's brilliant, Roosevelt, Washington, whoever that you could think of, they've had mistakes. See, smart people learn from everybody. They learn from people that are doing it with success, and they learn from people that have tried it and failed. So I appreciate you saying that because there's not a lot of people that are forthcoming and honest and say, look, success isn't easy. It's a bumpy road. I'm going to get there. Yeah, but I might take a left at Altoona or I might take a right at Albuquerque, but I'll get there. All right, so good. So can you introduce who's your cohort here? Who's this guy Dayne right next to you?
My co-founder and partner in crime, Dayne Thornicroft.
So Dayne, what's your background? Where'd you come from?
Yeah, so my background is completely different to Rami. So mine is in the finance and insurance space. So,
hey, whoop, whoop, in the house, in the house.
That's right. So I'm real big on data analytics. And to be honest with you, the reason why I beat Rami in that whole lease bet is because of my background in data analytics. Being able to tear apart a program and figure out how to optimize it is like my deal. And when we talked about this idea, 6 years ago, it was after that bet. Because he couldn't believe the deal that I got. It was on a BMW. It was a hybrid, and this is fairly early days. We're talking about 2019 now, something like that. And I was able to research the programs that were available, find a dealer that was willing to give me a pretty good discount on a demo loaner vehicle, tacked on a bunch of incentives, went out and got more incentives that you could qualify for, private offers by signing up on certain websites. Took advantage of government rebates because it was a hybrid. And you just stack all these incentives plus the discount plus the government rebates. I was getting a BMW 5 Series for $150 a month. He couldn't believe it.
Jesus Christ.
The dealer was happy to do it. The dealer was like, I'm not losing anything. Go for it. I was mind blown. I was like, all right, we got to take this formula and turn it into a technology.
So you literally got a 5 Series for $150.
It was $150 a month, zero down. Yep. That's how the dollars worked out.
Listen, let's pause here and talk about leasing for a second, because going back to Cody Carter, this is single-handedly one of Cody's superpowers. For me, this is what I don't understand. In the United States, it's very regional. Depending on what part of the United States, it's going to dictate what your lease penetration is. I'll give you an example. Like down south, typically, they do horrible with leasing. But when you're in major metros like New York or LA, or pretty much the Northeast period, it's 70, 80% plus. I know Southern California, it's like 90% lease penetration. I, as a car guy for 26 years, cannot fathom ever purchasing a vehicle. Obviously, unless it's over a certain amount of weight where I can write the whole thing off. But
Yeah,
as a
exactly.
businessman,
G-Wagon, right? Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me how you could only write off a small portion of depreciation on a finance, but yet I could write off an entire lease payment. Like, case in point, one of my favorite leases was the i8s. We had two of them. 155,000 was one of them, and 161, I think, was the other one. We leased them shits for like $1,200 a month. It was so stupid. So we couldn't finance, we could finance it, but I was only able to depreciate $12,000. That's it in a year on a $160,000, vehicle, versus I could write off my entire lease payment. So why would I do anything other than leasing? So explain, to the audience, do you agree with what I'm saying to you? Isn't leasing such a powerful tool for everything?
100%. I'll add to that. The new big, beautiful bill, however you guys want to take it. In that bill, by the way, there's a $10,000 write-off for leasing and purchasing a U.S. manufactured vehicle, by the way. So, right? So that's in addition to now into that. I think we're going to be talking about that on our site and kind of bringing this up. But you bring up a good point. I would say that leasing growth, though, I would say by region has been growing exponentially. I think, it's 5% year over year. And to your point, and I think the only thing that's been kind of suppressing that is affordability pressure because of just kind of the high loan rates, right? High loan rates now make leasing very attractive, right? And I think that's something to consider. So I think economy and what's happening within the market actually will start to affect that more and more. And I would say even more than that, now there's a lot of OEM incentives that are coming back to domestic nameplates, and because of the tariffs, leasing again is those OEMs, an Escalade is $100K, right? A Navigator, $90K. All these big 3-row SUVs are just in that upper close to mid-range to $100K. I mean, leasing becomes much more attractive for these kind of domestic nameplates as well. So I think there's a comeback. And I think we're going to see that 4 to 5 percentage point, increase relative growth year over year.
I'll just add to that real quick. Leasing is a really great option right now while, the big, beautiful bill hasn't fully set in on EVs and hybrids. There is that workaround to qualify for the full $7,500 rebate if you lease the vehicle. A lot of these manufacturers are doing that, where they're passing along that full rebate amount to you if you're leasing an EV or a hybrid. And that's huge. On the financing side, you have to pass all of the certain criteria. If you're over a certain income threshold, if the vehicle's too expensive, if it's not manufactured in the right place, if the parts aren't coming from the right parts of the world, all of that goes away when you're leasing it. And so leasing a hybrid and an EV, their lease penetration rates are much, much higher than gasoline cars. So that's another great angle.
You bring up a good point. Since you guys have dissected at AutoBandit the new big, beautiful bill that just got passed, can you give some insight to the dealer world, for the salespeople, the sales managers, the owners that might not have been paying attention to this bill? How do you think that's going to affect the automotive industry, specifically like the leasing part?
Yeah, I think the biggest impact that we're going to see is all of those lease workarounds with the EV rebates are going away. So right now is your time to push your EV and hybrid inventory. If you're not doing that, you're missing out, because as soon as this bill goes into effect and those credits expire, those vehicles are going to become much more expensive. And when you think about it, when you put a gasoline equivalent next to the hybrid equivalent or the EV equivalent, they're slightly more expensive cars. So if you don't have that EV subsidy, the lease payment on that EV or that hybrid is going to be a lot higher than what it is now. So that is my major takeaway for the dealers listening here.
So listen, this is the thing that Cody always says. If you have somebody in a 36-month lease or 39-month lease, a lot of these manufacturers have pull-ahead programs where you could pull people ahead 3 to 6 months in advance. So if you have somebody on a 36-month lease, technically at 29 months, 30 months, 31 months, you're able to pull them out. That is significantly dropping the the resale or reacquisition opportunity. I mean, if you think about it, how many cars are financed now at 72 months, 84 months, 92 months, like 96 months, whatever it is? It's insane. Like the finances are getting stupid now because cars are so expensive. To what Rami was saying, when you have $100,000 Escalade, I mean, just do the math. If you just take $100,000, not even taxes or anything else, divide that by even, 72 months, you're looking at 1388 at 0%, not including anything. Like the numbers are just outrageous, to your point. And then think about this, right or wrong, for the last 3 to 4 years, we've been putting people to sleep like with over list deals.
100%. Everybody's underwater. Yeah,
like there's so many people that are going to be upside down right off the rip, and when you compound that with these ridiculous interest rates, these ridiculous insurance rates, it's going to force people into leasing because you're not going to be able to own these vehicles because they're just going to be too expensive for the regular person. Right. Am I out of realm, or am I talking reality here?
100%. And if I can add to this, and I'm going to bring up a controversial topic, but I think
it's
part what we have to attack. So in the bill as well, they're blocking the FTC enforcement of the CARS Act. So the Combating Auto Retail Scams rule. Are you guys familiar with that rule?
Explain.
So ultimately, dealers will are no longer compelled to give in an all upfront price and justify optional add-ons, right? Low jack to pinstriping or whatever the case may be, all these bundles. So these kind of hidden fees that are in there that it's regulators are not going to be policing that as much. So I think that puts it, consumers lose this guardrail without FTC oversight, where it allows some stores, I don't want to say everybody's a good actor, right? Some people that will kind of slip in non-negotiable fees, inflate payments, and things like that. And that's going to turn the buyers right now, because this starts to become rolling out. They're going to be ever more sheepish than ever now to kind of pull the trigger, because some of these things are moving away. So I think dealers get breathing room and they avoid a lot of paperwork and training expense and potential penalties. But the consumer's trust factor, that goes down considerably now. Again.
And I love what you're saying. I think that's a great spot for our dealers, right? Because now we get the opportunity to be that transparent, to actually explain how things work. Because that's the major reason why people are sheepish, is because they believe something is being hidden from them, right? I talk about how we're born with the fear of loud noises. We're born with the fear of falling, but we develop the fear of the unknown, right? And so when people try to take advantage of that, that's when it causes problems, right? So I'm so glad you guys are really explaining this stuff, especially with the $10,000, because I thought that was just for interest on like purchases and stuff like that. So y'all breaking it down to talk about how it applies to leasing is powerful.
100% right off on the interest on the U.S. built new car loans. You'll get somewhere, I think, $2,000 a year potentially.
Can I add something real quick to the transparency piece? So I think a really great example of a transparent marketplace is Manheim. When you think of how they've taken everything digital now, and those lanes are just running constantly, you get the full condition report right there. You can see exactly what's going on with that vehicle. I mean, it's a really big plus. And I mean, we're similar in that space with creating that transparent environment. So I just wanted to make sure, I got that point across, because transparency is really key in this market now in 2025.
100%.
Yeah.
I want to go back though, and we started the show talking about Cody Carter, and I want to put this whole thing together. I was really excited to have you guys on here because I've been doing this for a long time, and you guys are doing something different. Okay. But you also have kind of like a leg in the water when it comes into these auto brokers. So help me and the audience understand, what is the difference. Well, first of all, can you define what an auto broker is, and then what the difference between an auto broker versus having this marketplace, just so we could understand?
I'll sum it up as, look, I think brokers have their place, and I've used them before. But what I've learned about them, a broker chases a deal one at a time and charges the buyer for the privilege of doing that, right? Your personal concierge, you're paying a fee. I think a marketplace is a tech platform that turns your entire inventory into a desk matched, deposit ready deal with no fees attached. You can go onto our site. There's no hidden markups, and the customer is yours for life, right? That's, I think, another big important piece. If you go through a broker, that customer really will only know the dealership that they bought that car from because they happen to put a license plate holder on the back that we would see dealer XYZ. Otherwise, it gets delivered to them. They've never entered that dealership. They'll probably never go take that dealership for servicing the car for servicing or enter that dealership ever again. And when your lease is up, we'll call that broker directly and try to go somewhere else. And that's why, there's a difference between a marketplace and a middleman. That's the difference between that, right? So that's what I would say is a huge differentiator.
I like that.
So what Cody does, Cody has multiple auto brokers. These are people that do their own marketing, their own advertising, and they basically create opportunities. And so another way of defining an auto broker is kind of like a professional bird dog, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. You're paying a much higher referral fee or bird dog fee than you would a typical civilian bird dog, but that's what they do. They basically refer you business and in some instances, put the deal together. So can you explain to us, like, again, obviously this is not a commercial, for AutoBandit, but I am intrigued. So how does AutoBandit work? And, why do you guys consider yourself as a marketplace?
Sure. Dayne, would you? Yeah.
I would say one of the key things is that the dealers get to list their inventory on a marketplace. They determine how it's priced. They determine which lenders they're going to work with. A lot of brokers typically target just tier one credit. A marketplace can target all layers of credit, including those with very challenged credit, depending on the dealership and their lender relationships. And so when you think about that, it really opens up the entire geographic and demographic target markets that you can go after there. And then the other piece is, Rami touched on this a little bit, but the fact that a marketplace is going to run a credit app, it's going to run a soft credit app, and it's using a FICO V8, Auto V8, which is aligned with what the dealers use. And so you're not going to get one score here and then go into the dealership again, totally different score. The other thing is you're getting ID checked. So your driver's license is run through a ID screening with a selfie. There's a deposit that's taken. So, I mean, you put all of these steps in place, and on the marketplace, you have very serious buyers coming in. They're not just leads, they're actual buyers. And for the dealership, it's very easy, very hands-off. Once that inventory is listed and priced out, you're just waiting for those deals to roll in. All the marketing is done by the marketplace, who's targeting the geographic region that you're in, and all that business is coming to you when the shopper or the consumer comes in and wants to get that lease or that finance deal.
Yeah, I'll summarize it as this. I think this is, it puts dealers back in the driver's seat. In the case where the brokers, they're not, as you mentioned, with the bird dogs. And this gives the shoppers a Netflix style checkout they expected probably a decade ago, right? With the advent of all the technology, right? I think Tesla has proven to a lot of people that there's a bunch of buyers out there that are happy to buy the second largest purchase that they make in their life, potentially a vehicle, right, outside of their home. They are happy to make online if everything is transparent and they can get it done. And I believe that's what we kind of give people. So we produce a desk deal, qualified shoppers, and we charge a flat post-delivery fee, no hidden spread, no middleman markups, totally free to be on our site. And we market the hell out of it, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions a month, marketing your.
From what I'm understanding is this. The bottom line, because I know obviously dealers that work with you guys, is that you don't charge the dealers to put their inventory on your website at all.
None.
So bottom line is this, there's zero risk whatsoever because the dealer doesn't have to pay for anything up front, correct?
Correct. We want to perform. If we don't perform, that's on us.
I'm asking the questions.
Yeah, I'm good.
No, I'm kidding. So I'm just kidding. I just want to say that. So, okay. Yeah. So I want to make sure that we're clear though. A, the dealer doesn't have to pay to have their inventory put onto your marketplace. That's free. And then second is they don't get charged unless someone buys the car, right? So again, there's only a fee only if a car gets sold and delivered. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, what's the catch then? It sounds too good to be true.
No catch. I mean, that's the honest truth. I mean, we that's part of our learning process, right? We tried to launch this thing during COVID, and we learned the hard way. You needed to offer something, in the good times and the bad times. We wanted something, a platform that can survive these ebbs and flows, right? And I think the dealerships that have been there for decades and decades know, and they will continue to outlast probably a bunch of sites and a bunch of these ideas, right? And we knew that, their lead, lead sourcing, lead gen on average is $700 per client. We know they have money there to spare, but dealers are so aggressive, monthly, some dealers are looking at what their third-party vendors and deciding which to cut, which not to cut. And we didn't want to be in that boat, right? We said, we were in the long haul with you. We will work it out. Our job is to bring you qualified closed deals. And that's our commitment. And we'll be there in the good times and the bad. So that's what we figured out early on is necessary to make this work.
This has been the most in-depth training I've had in my lot of years in the car business.
We went from 60 cars to 156 cars a month in 3 months.
NAMAD, the entire Toyota Chicago region, as well as the top automotive groups like Koons, Lithia, and Norm Reeves have all used Bradley On Demand to train their team.
They're the most comprehensive training company I've seen, and they by far have the best support system.
Doing 50 cars a month, topped out at 80. I can tell you that the Bradley On Demand training will get you to the next level.
And guess what? The world's #1 car salesman, Cody Carter, shares his exclusive strategies right here. You want his secrets? You gotta have Bradley On Demand. If you're still not enrolled in Bradley On Demand, you're missing out on the best virtual automotive training in the world. Enroll now or contact us for a free test drive of the platform today.
Listen, it makes a lot of sense to me. Again, to be clear, there is a difference between an auto broker versus a marketplace. We're not talking about Facebook Marketplace. We're talking about a marketplace in general. So the big difference is that instead of it being a onesie twosie, like you're just waiting for one person at a time, you're creating an entire environment. Hence a marketplace for all the people to come to one centralized area to see all the inventory, that's there and see if there's something that fits. And if there's a fit, AutoBandit basically is going to, do the conversation, the negotiation, secure a deposit, and only if there is a deal to be had, you notifies the dealer and you go from there. All right, cool. Look, like I said, I don't want to turn this into a commercial. I just was really intrigued with it, especially, with everything going on with Cody Carter and his profound success. So the reality, if I'm understanding, is that every dealership, every salesperson should diversify their prospecting opportunities. Let's look at this. Traditionally, you like a dealership, let's use a Toyota dealership or Ford or whatever dealership, you have your opportunities coming from the manufacturer, the OEM opportunities. Then you have opportunities coming from the website. Then you've got opportunities coming from third-party providers, online classifieds, third-party lead source providers. And then you've got traditional media, radio, TV, print, etc. What we're saying is instead of having to make a decision, what should I cut to do? Something like this makes it easy because there is no budgeting decision. You don't have to spend more money. You don't have to allocate anything. There's nothing there. There's no excuse that you have to not try it. You know what I mean?
And anonymous. Yeah. Totally anonymous. Right.
All right.
And
I get it. So again, AutoBandit, do your thing. All right, guys, let's go back to this. I really want to take advantage of your subject matter expertise because you guys seem to know what you're doing. I'm really intrigued on this leasing thing. I got a question for you. All right. How do I get part of this? Because I too want to have a ridiculous, stupid lease. Do you know that Cody's driving a McLaren right now, Rami?
No, fully aware, by the way. He said It's leaking a lot. Sorry, McLaren.
Yeah, okay. Do you know what he's paid for it? Do you know what he paid for it?
It was some ridiculous.
It's stupid.
One, yeah.
Yeah, it was a one-time pay. He paid,
Yeah.
I think we paid $12,000.
Yes.
It was a one-time lease, so he paid $12,000. So, but it's a 1-year lease. So he's basically only paying $1,000 a month on a freaking brand new McLaren.
Yeah, it's an Artura. I happened to have an Artura when I was out there, and that's why we started talking about it. And he mentioned it, so it was pretty funny. Amazing car, by the way. But yes,
yeah.
That was
so
it, yeah.
what type of sick deals can you get like on like exotic cars? What would give us an example of something crazy?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have, if I'm allowed to plug, we do have something called AutoBandit Black that's coming out for those guys that are looking exactly for those kind of one-pay leases and these kind of exotics and these high-end MSRPs. I would say this is about the dealership. So Cody, if you allow me, this kind of yes first pricing strategy doesn't really work for a lot of dealers, right? Let's be honest. Like there's some dealers that are just unfortunately sucking wind and need to be at gross and don't have that ability, even if they have a Hellcat Demon that's been sitting there or, sitting there for, 2 years on the lot. They can't, let it go for free. We do have something on our platform, which is kind of a dynamic pricing model, which allows you to we blast the car out to thousands of subscribers, and then it'll start a reverse auction, essentially having people bid up. So start at the lowest point where you want to be, and then you bid up, and then the car could be sold for a steal that's acceptable to the dealer, right? Where the
give us an example of a stupid Highline or exotic lease that you guys did, like an exotic.
I want to hear about this.
I want to hear one.
Oh my God. So I would say, so let's be clear. So we're starting on the high end, like the Lambos and the Ferrari to come. I would say something that we've just recently have done, Hellcat Durango, I think his sticker was about 110. It went for 85. There was mostly a lot of CDJR stuff. What's their pickup? The Trax? What is it called? Yeah, but you know how they have the Ford Raptor and then this
T-Rex. Yeah, T-Rex.
Yeah, that's right. Ford T-Rex in that special orange color. They had a $30,000 markup on it. They were actually able to sell it for $20,000 above MSRP. Ended up being a ship to Texas from California. That was super cool. And that's really the ones that come to mind right now. I mean, there's
I think they're asking the opposite. So these are the ones that really benefited the dealerships.
I'm just curious, like, what can I get a Lamborghini for?
Yeah, like an Audi e-tron GT. Yes. This is an EV, right? Over 100K, $850 a month. So, you find deals like that all over the place. I mean, your i8 was a perfect example. Those cars, wherever you can find a heavily discounted, heavily incentivized, trunk money up the wazoo type of deal, those are going to lease really well. And the reason for that is because the manufacturer is jacking up the residual value while driving all of the discounts and incentives on it. And really, when you think about a lease, you're just paying the difference between whatever you sold it at and that residual value. So you minimize that amount, and that's going to create a really low lease payment.
See, for me, as a car guy, that's what I live for, the deal. I want to get as much car as possible for as little out of pocket. Not that I don't mind spending money, you know what I mean? But I just love getting the deal. You're a car guy. Like, I'm a deal guy. Like, I freaking love getting that deal. Like, oh, yeah, I got that, So 100%.
Yeah, people don't realize these cars depreciate like brick. I mean, it's like
yes,
off a lot, and you think you have a deal. It's quite interesting. They don't hold that much value.
Okay, so can you give us some advice? Okay, I understand you're not a broker, you are a marketplace, but let's go through this. What advice do you have for our audience that's trying to get into the Cody Carter level, and they want to work with a broker company or marketplace company? How do they find a company like you guys? What do they look for?
Really, what you're looking for is a marketplace that's going to project your inventory in a transparent manner. So if you want to throw a markup on there, you want to throw a markup on the money factor, you want to throw add-ons. it's important that you actually do that up front on that marketplace, and working with a marketplace that allows you to do that avoids any of the surprises after that person comes into the dealership to actually consummate that deal. It's probably one of the most important things about doing business with any marketplace. You have to make it what you see is what you get. If you put a price on there, you got to honor that price when they come in. That's the thing that's actually killed a lot of other marketplaces that have come before us, where dealers didn't want to honor prices because it was the wrong program or someone didn't qualify. Those are the types of situations where you're gonna kill the deal as soon as that person lands there. And then in addition to that, you're also going to kill your CSI. You don't want to bait and switch someone. I mean, they're going to tell everyone and their friend not to go to your dealership if they have that experience. And so one of the other things that you want to find in a marketplace is just somewhere where they're really fully going to vet that person out. Because what they're doing is they're taking the full qualified buyer and bringing them to you. They're not just bringing a lead. When you think of like the lead gen sites, and I won't name them, we all know them, they're typically putting up walls where people are just looking for information. I'll give you an example. I just want to know what the internet price is on a certain vehicle. I go to click on show me the internet price. Now I got to fill in a form that's saying put in your name, email, address, et cetera. And now I'm getting bombarded by dealer calls saying, hey, when can you come in? And when the consumer's on the other side of the line, they're saying, I just wanted to know what your internet price is. Well, and the dealers are trained to not have their sales folks give a price over the phone, right? Because you want to make sure you can bring them in. And if they can't be in that car, you want to sell them another one. And so they can't even give that price over the phone. That's a frustrating experience for a buyer that's in a research mindset, not a buying mindset. You want to make sure you get them when they're in a buying mindset. And that's the thing that a marketplace is doing. It's fully getting that person into a buying mindset. They're going from research to buying all in one place, and then bringing that deal fully qualified for you to consummate in your dealership. And they're taking out that friction point of the negotiation, the price negotiation. So all you have to do is really do the F&I, where you're not actually calling up all your lenders trying to find someone who's going to finance this person because they're already qualified, but you're really upselling them on the benefits of the F&I products. And then you're creating that real tangible delivery experience that's all the positives without any of the negatives. So that's really what I would look for if I was looking for a marketplace to do business with.
Right. Then I would add one point to that. I think trade-in handling, I think a low-cost source of used inventory adds a lot of profit. We all know dealers are hungry for that, to be able to do that. So I would, to surmise, cost structure, buyer quality and verification, the pricing and desk control, territory and competition. We can talk about that, right? I think that's important. Trade-in handling and customer ownership. Big piece of all this, right? Because a third of that is, on sales, a third of your revenue is on maintenance of that vehicle, and hopefully you'll be able to upsell that client again, right, and bring them in. So I think those are important factors to consider.
Well, I mean, I'll just say really quickly that again, we talked about transparency, right? And I think that's really one of the biggest things. And I love that, a person can go to a marketplace and just put themselves in position. Because obviously we think about it from a dealer's perspective, right? But again, I know a lot of times people say, customer comes first, customer comes second. There's a thought process behind that. But man, when you can create a great experience for people, now it allows you to market a lot of different ways, right? It allows you to be that dealer that stands out. And so when you can do something like that, I'm telling you, I just feel like it makes you a special kind of dealer.
So for me, success leaves clues. I keep saying that, is that we do not have to reinvent the wheel. We all know who Cody Carter is. Cody Carter is a legitimate multimillionaire car salesman. I'm going to repeat that. He's a multimillionaire car salesman who just sold 204 units in 1 month. He sold 1,432 units last year. He sold 1,408 units the year before. The question is, how? How did Cody do this? forget about how you're going to try to do stuff. Because if you've only sold 5, 8, 10, 20 cars a month, no offense, but that's all you've ever done. Like, you know what I mean? So why try to reinvent the wheel? Why try to figure it out if you haven't figured it out in your 5, 10, 15, 20 years in your career? Look to somebody that's been doing it consistently, month after month, year after year, and just dissect how are they doing it. Well, one of Cody's strategies, he's got his own website. Another part of his strategy is that he uses a ton of Facebook groups. A third part of his strategy is he's a leasing genius. But a fourth part of his strategy is that he uses auto brokers and really professional referral agencies to be able to help add incremental additional business every single month. And this episode, we've had the opportunity to talk to two extremely, I think powerful entrepreneurs, Rammy and Dayne. I mean, they have subject matter expertise in technology, software, analytics, data, and these details. They are coming from AutoBandit. They have a marketplace. They generate really high level, not just leads, but deals. When they knock on a dealer's door, it's not for a hypothetical. It's like, hey, I've got a prospect that's ready to buy a car. The whole deal is structured. Let's go. And oh, by the way, it's an in-stock unit. Here's your stock number, VIN number, boom, boom, boom. So I want to just thank, both you guys for being on the show today. I want to thank you guys for your insight, your perspective, your information. Before we go, though, I want to give each of you an opportunity to give us one last thought as you want to leave our audience with. So let's start with you, Dayne. How do you want to leave the audience?
Yeah. So, I mean, the last thought I have is really expand your horizons with all the different means of which you're selling. And, again, a marketplace is a fantastic risk-free way to do that, where you're not having to pick and choose what type of platform you need to drop because your marketing dollars are getting pulled away. And I would say that's the main one. Look for those risk-free opportunities where you're going to get a much higher return than some of the other platforms out there where you're having to risk your marketing dollars to hopefully get some sales in the door.
I would say, wake up, smash a triple shot of espresso like Cody does, drop today's deal of the galaxy meme into every local Facebook group, let shoppers binge on your price sheets. When a customer DMs, is this real? Fire back, deposit link and be, let's go. Yes, this is real. I'm here. I have these cars, because there's still that disbelief. So do that. Be responsive in that manner, and block out the afternoon, I hope, with a bunch of deliveries and selfies and a whole go thing. That be where the shoppers are. I would say, listen, he does have a leg up. I mean, being Toyota, of course, that's a brand that everybody loves. There's a lot of reliability, but I'd say there's secret sauce in that. So low margin sizzle, and just kind of, be able to kind of replicate his playbook. So I would say I hope this has been helpful, and I'm very happy and glad to be here with you, Sean, in LA. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, guys.
Absolutely, guys. I appreciate it. It was a great episode with lots of good information. All right, everybody, this is SVB, and the place to be is the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and you've been rocking with the executives at AutoBandit. Damn it, they're cracking it. All right, so Rammy and Dayne, thank you so much. And listen, guys, shout out to AutoBandit. Check it out. If it's for free, it's for me. So go check out their website, AutoBandit.com, and let's go.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. If you liked it, you're gonna love Bradley On Demand. Bradley On Demand is the most advanced virtual training, tracking, testing, and certification platform. What does that mean? It's an online university. And if you like this information here, we have hundreds and hundreds of advanced videos, step by step, on how to help you sell more cars more often and more profitably. So sign up now.